our co-main event, we've got the better of the two Bonfim brothers, Gabriel, looking for his 16th consecutive win to start his MMA career. Now 15-0 and 4-0 in the UFC. He's looking to really put a statement on a couple of his wins, and is facing Nicolas Dalby, who, despite his age, despite being 38 years old, is now 6-3-1 in the UFC and has won 5 of his last 6 fights. So it feels almost like a co-main event layup, just the same way that we early in the card will get a lot of those debutants getting a guy falling out. It feels almost like they're trying to give Bonfim a respectable opponent that he could beat to continue to have him ascend as a star. But we'll see. Dalby is a tough challenge. He's a tough nut to crack, and he hasn't really faced the top end of the competition. So while this is a step up for Bonfim, it's not as though we're that confident in Dalby's ability to say that it's a gigantic step up. We know that he'll be a test. We know that he's going to want to stay at range and just sort of pitter-patter his way to a decision, which is the way his last 5 fights have gone. And he's mainly a boxer with good defense, and he's defensive-minded. So we'll see if Bonfim is able to, or if he wants to, be aggressive to the point where he can really push in. And I'll correct myself mid-fight here. He's 2-0 in the UFC. I was looking at the wrong note, not 4-0, beating Munir Lazez and Trevin Giles after winning his Dana White's Contender Series fight against Trey Waters by Von Vluchok in round 1. But his last 3 fights, 4 fights even, going back to LFA, have all finished in the first round by choke, and by a different choke each time. And that really is all almost that you need to know about Bonfim. He is as good as it gets when it comes to submissions. 15 wins to date, 3 by knockout, 12 by submission, and it comes in almost every form and fashion you can imagine. And those 3 knockouts are not necessarily all ground and pound knockouts too. He's got the ability on the feet. He's pretty slick there, and he's clean when he goes into those takedowns to get it to the ground. He's not rushing those or pushing those and like reaching for them to where he get clipped on the way in. He really does blend the 2 skills very well together to where he can get opponents naturally having to defend themselves to strikes to where he can just be able to jump into a takedown and get it down and then be able to progress from there. So it'll be interesting because Dalby has the cardio to stay for the entire fight and be a challenge. And we'll see if he can open up Dalby the way that not many have in the UFC. Andy, what's sort of your opinion on Bonfim and Dalby here?
I think I'm so fascinated about this one from the skill check standpoint. Like, this is really going to be a really nice test for Bonfim. I respect Dalby's game, and I think like what's going to be so fascinating is that Dalby's never been finished. All 4 of his losses are by decision, and Bonfim has only gotten finishes. That's what's going to be really fun is like the 3 knockouts and 12 submissions going up against a guy who only loses by decision when he loses and has some finishes on his own. So with that, like something's going to have to give, right? Where one way or the other, it's going to happen. And whether that's breaking Bonfim's unblemished record or breaking Dalby's not being finished record, like something's going to give here. For me, I wish that there was more ways for us to bet on Bonfim because I do think he gets it done. I think there are some ways that we can get creative and cute. I'm not necessarily a fan of doing that on a ton of fights. But I mean, you found it like where there are a couple angles that you've come at these fights this weekend with. I would love to kind of take a more creative angle on this one. What are you thinking? Because I assume that you might be on a similar wavelength to me here.
Yeah, so the fighters that Dalby has faced throughout both of his 2 UFC tenures, he's the second fighter here that's had 2 stints. And in that first stint, he beat Elizeu Lazeski, who's earlier on this card. He beat him by split decision, and then he actually drew Darren Till. So 2 very respectable fighters. And then he ended up losing 3 in a row to much lesser competition before going to Cage Warriors, getting 3 finishes in a row, and then getting back to the UFC to go back on his draw rampage. But across both stints, though, he really hasn't faced a dominant grappler to the sense that Bonfim is. A guy that'll challenge him in both ways. Yes, Alex Oliveira is talented. Alex Oliveira is 11-10 in the UFC. So I don't think that he's of the level at all of Gabriel Bonfim, and I think that that's where I think everyone expects Bonfim to be able to dominate, is on the ground and be able to get it there and force it there. I think that he could have some challenge in getting it to the ground. But we'll see. It'll be interesting, and I think the X factor in this fight is Gabriel Bonfim, not Gonfim, his ability to make Dalby respect him on the feet. If he's able to do that, if he's able to go toe-to-toe and hurt Dalby or pressure him and really start to land consistently, those takedowns open up and he'll be able to get it to the ground and finish him. I have pretty good confidence in that. But I think that the over is my play. It's 1.5 at the moment, the over-under. I think that we'll get into the second round, and I think that we'll get healthily into the second round. I think Dalby's enough of a defensive-minded fighter with good cardio to be able to do it and take it there. All 10 of his UFC fights have gone to decision. So,
what's the juice on that over?
It's plus 110. You're getting plus money. The books really favor Bonfim. I mean, he opened at minus 350. He's down to minus 600 now. And the books really just think that he's going to be able to dominate in the first round. And you'll probably get a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of your friends that are saying, hey, I've got Bonfim by first round. So I'm like, don't do that. Don't take first round specific bets. It's hard. Maybe at the heavyweight division where like Derek Lewis is just going to gas out. But I wouldn't recommend it. I'd just take the over.
Yeah, I love that play.
Yeah,
I love that play, and I'm actually going to take it a step further because I think Bonfim gets the job done. And I think that in turn, nothing is going to break here, where he gets it by decision. So he keeps that perfect record. He gets his first decision victory, and Dalby keeps his unfinished record, where I think Dalby has the means and has the defense and has the cardio to be able to get this over the finish line, even though Bonfim should, in my opinion, dominate. I'm just so high on Bonfim. I think he's going to be a stud in this division for a long time to come. And I think that at plus 350 for Bonfim to win by decision, you're getting really good value. I'm only going to put half a unit on it, but I do sincerely feel that this is pretty good value here. And I'll rock with you on that over too. Again, that's your play, not mine, but I'm going to put some money on that as well. Because if I'm going to go by decision, hell, I may as well make some money of it, making it to 7.5 minutes in. So Rick's got the over 1.5 at plus 110 for a unit. I have Bonfim by decision at plus 350, which has never happened before, but it's going to happen on Saturday. Stay with us as we preview the main event in which this card was built between Gelton Almeida taking on Derek Lewis.